One Red Sox fan runs with the Bulls in Pamplona.
I thought, what better way to run than in a Red Sox uniform, white and red.
While another walks from Yankee Stadium to Yawkey Way.
It seems that Yankee fan and Red Sox fans are not really that much dissimilar.
And a birthday celebration 100 years in the making.
I don't drink, I don't smoke. That's about the main thing.
Those stories and more on this edition of Red Sox Stories. I'm Colleen Riley alongside Dick Flavin. Thanks for joining us. We've got some Red Sox stories for you. We begin with the ball club's own Evel Knievel.
His name is John Coyne, and he joined the team behind the team in 2002. When the Sox are presented with the most challenging of challenges, his cell phone is usually the first to ring, and he always has a ready answer.
And recently he went to Europe to run with the Bulls in Pamplona.
And it was there that his true colors shone through. When you can do this, you can do anything. That was the thought back in 2002 when the ball club's new ownership wanted to ring in a new era in an emotional and uplifting way. As Fenway's home opener approached, the idea to unfurl an American flag the length and height of the Green Monster was conceived. The thought was great, but who was to execute such a task, especially when the Green Monster seats were still a year away?
It was March of 2002, and she called and said, "This is Sarah McKenna of the Red Sox. Could you come over and look at something that we have we think you could help us with?" And it was as simple as that. And I showed up, and what it was the American flag that you drop on your Green Monster for special games and special events. And that's how I came to be with this new regime, the new Red Sox, so to speak. At that time, it was all about being on the Green Monster. So when I asked to do the survey, I asked if I could bring my cameras and take pictures and really get a feel for what I had to do up there. And I figured at the very least I would have pictures of myself on the Green Monster, and really that's what it was all about for me. And just getting to walk on that hallowed piece of wall. And we got to do it, and then it turned into, we could actually do something with that American flag, and it turned into the event that you see now periodically. And the rest is history. I've been with the club ever since, and it's been nothing but wonderful.
The most wonderful of days for John and for much of Red Sox Nation was April 11th, 2005.
That's probably the biggest day in the history of Fenway Park, is my guess. And that's no brag, that's fact. You can ask the powers that be. They might agree with that, but that was a remarkable day, and that was all Charles Steinberg's show. You know how he writes these shows, and he does his thing. And there's nothing like a Charles Steinberg show at Fenway Park. And you know, you go to the tape and you'll see that one. That was one of the greatest. I mean, you had all the players. You had Dave Roberts and Derek Lowe return that day. I mean, you know all the things that happened yourself that day. All the people who were under the flag. Bill Russell, Bobby Orr, Teddy Bruschi, Richard Seymour. I mean, there were so many facets of that day. You know, I don't even know what to focus on. It was just one of the greatest and one of the biggest operations we were involved in. We had almost, I believe it were 96 people helped us get that done on our end of it, just on that banner drop and the flags and what have you. And we did re-rope the center field flagpole, like you said, which was wonderful. I got to climb the flagpole, and that's a great thing out there.
With a passion for danger that's made his work as vital to the Sox as Big Poppy's bat, John recently took his no-fear mentality to Western Europe.
It's my mother-in-law. It was her dream to run with the Bulls. So as a gift, we decided to take her to Spain to see the Bulls and also to look up some old families she lost touch with, actually never had any contact with. So it was a special gift to her. And I decided that if I were going to be in Pamplona, I may as well run the Bulls. I couldn't see myself being in Pamplona and not running. And we had researched it a little to see what was expected of the runners, et cetera, et cetera. And what we found out was that everybody runs in white and red. And I thought, what better way to run than in a Red Sox uniform, white and red. So I came to the club. I actually asked Sarah McKenna if there was a way that I could get my hands on a uniform. I would like to run fully bedecked as a Red Sox runner, you know. And they loved the idea. The Red Sox loved it. And I got myself Julio Lugo's uniform. I ended up wearing Kevin Youkolis' shirt. That was a special thing for Kevin Youkolis. It was a nod to him for having missed the All-Star game this year. We felt he should have been the starting All-Star first baseman, and where he got snubbed, so to speak, we thought that would be a tribute to Kevin. As a matter of fact, when we crossed northern Spain, before we had gone to Pamplona, we had done the family thing. I was actually in Lugo, Spain, with Julio Lugo's uniform. I want Julio to know that. And we did a bunch of things with the family, and then we ended up in Pamplona. And on Thursday, July 12th, we actually watched the race from a balcony. And I got to, you know, maybe determine a strategy for myself. And it just so happened that that was the glorious day in the history of the festival. I decided to run the next day, Friday the 13th, for good measure, and it's the time of my life. Estafeta, the end of the run, is actually the most dangerous. There's very little room for error. There's very little room to jump out of the way, so to speak. Very few walls to climb. So you're at the mercy of the crowd. You have all the jostling and the elbowing and the punching and pulling and pushing. You know, something you're not gearing for, but it happens on the run. I hurdled 3 different bodies in the course of running down Calle Estafeta. And I haven't run like that in probably 30 years, but it was great. It was, I would love to do it again. As crazy as it sounds, I would love to do it again. It was incredible. And the fact that I got to represent wearing the uniform, that was really big. I had no fewer than 1,000 people come to us from the States and around asking about the uniform, New Yorkers who posing with us. I actually ran next to a guy who was fully bedecked in a St. Louis Cardinals uniform. And he runs every year. He comes every year. He's tattooed on his calf and other places with the Bulls and Pamplona and the Kingdom of Nevada and all that. The experience, I can't even explain it to you. It was one of the greatest things I've ever done, you know? And Red Sox Nation in Pamplona, Spain, sweet.
Welcome back to Red Sox Stories. We continue with 2 longtime baseball fans whose friendship is strong despite a difference in loyalty.
Recently, the bond between Sox supporter Alex B. and Yankee follower John Mullady led to a 277-mile exploration into the rivalry.
The 2 walked all the way from Yankee Stadium to Fenway Park, and they documented the entire trip.
One reason I think it would be interesting to look at is more of a bottoms-up perspective at the rivalry. There's been movies, DVDs, documentaries, articles from magazines and different types of newspapers about the teams of the Red Sox and the Yankees, the 96 Yankees, the 2004 Red Sox, the 77 Yankees, the 78 Yankees, and so on. This is a way of looking at the fans who helped make that rivalry.
It wasn't hard to find diehard fans from both sides along this route.
We talked to that cabbie in Poughkeepsie who was talking about who's a Red Sox fan and talking about the whole Bill Buckner deal and how he was watching that on TV and
little roller up along first, behind the bag.
Hearing about these historical players and historical events in the history of the rivalry that I've only read about and that I've only heard about. And these are people who have experienced that and really experienced the highs and lows of being a fan of the teams.
We had stopped at this pub and we walked in. As soon as the guy saw my Jeter shirt, he started giving me a hard time, told me to leave. And then when we told him what we were doing, they got really excited and he had some pretty interesting stuff to say. He was originally from about upstate New York, but he moved out to Massachusetts, but he never liked the Yankees, always was a Red Sox fan. So he was talking to us about that, and he actually said he respected the players a lot. He never hated Bernie Williams or Derek Jeter, and he thought they were classy guys. When you go to the games before the game they're doing the batting practice, you see the players come over and shake each other's hand and talk about it, so it doesn't seem like the players hate each other or buy into it, but I would say the rivalry is definitely more about the fans, and it keeps the fans going, and I think it's great for sports. When you talk about, I said I'm going to walk the rivalry, people like pretty much automatically know. I mean, if I was to go from Shea Stadium to Atlanta, you're going to pass thousands of people who don't care about either team, but this one, it's just in the perfect area, so I love it.
The pair walked an average of 20 miles each day. They battled torrential rain and scorching heat.
My feet hurt. My ankle hurts, but I'm just ready to do this. I'm pumped.
My right knee hurts a lot today, and my feet, ache, but hoping it's not going to be like when Forrest Gump just goes, I'm tired, I think I'm going to go home now. So hoping there's some sort of meaning at the end of this thing.
Even John, the Yankees fan, was happy to see their rainbow's pot of gold, Fenway Park.
When I saw the Sicko sign, I was like, oh my God, we're actually doing this. And I called up my brother real quick because I promised he'd be the first and last person I called right when I got there. I said, I can see the sign, I can see the lights. And he just started screaming, going, you guys did it, you guys did it. As soon as we walked up and you can see the whole field, it's like a new sense of life came into me. It's just wow. I would say for any baseball fan, it's just that this is a place it's just so special, and you can see baseball in American history. It really is one of a kind, and all the books and all the articles that you read don't do this place justice. You really need to go down here. Even if you picked up a baseball, you need to go down here and just like smell the grass and see everything. It's just such a wonderful, wonderful place.
The walk was more than personal, though. John and Alex placed an emphasis on others, too.
If you see this and you find it interesting that we did this, for the Red Sox fans, it'd be nice to donate toward the Yankee charity, Sloan Kettering Memorial Cancer Hospital. They're a wonderful charity. And for the Yankee fans, I think everyone should be donating to the Jimmy Fund. It's a wonderful charity. And personally, my favorite charity is St. Jude's Children's Hospital, and they don't turn people away for cancer treatment. So I think it'd be a wonderful thing. And I know there are a lot of good charities out there. There's no bad charity, but you know, if you go to a game, don't spend $6.25 on a beer and maybe pledge that instead.
The exhaustion that greeted them by journey's end didn't shadow a newfound perspective on the rivalry.
It seems that Yankee fan and Red Sox fans are not really that much dissimilar. They both are probably the more passionate groups of fans in baseball. And they are situated near each other, so they're probably kind of similar types of people. As much as probably the groups don't like to think of themselves as like each other.
I guess my views changed in that I do sense, or do have a feeling of mutual understanding about passion towards the sport, because I think in a lot of cases it's more than a game. It can bring two people together that maybe don't get along and will watch the game, or it can bring, in this case, 35,000 strangers together, but you know, for a couple hours they're all basically united towards one thing.
I've never more wanted to be a fan, and to really enjoy baseball, enjoy being a fan of this, or a member of the community of baseball fans, and in particular Red Sox fans, and for me personally. And talking to people and how much it means to them, and it's just a game, but I think the community, I think baseball is just a game, but the community of it and being a fan is more than that. And I think that's what's so important.
Welcome back to Red Sox Stories. Dr. William Dretler has not slowed down after a 60-year career as a doctor in Marblehead, Massachusetts.
And recently, this long-serving Red Sox fan celebrated his 100th birthday at Fenway Park.
I graduated from BU in 1930. Then I went to Yale Graduate School to study physiology in 31. Then I went to Tufts Medical School from 31 to 35. After that, I got out and I interned for 1 year in New York, and I came here and interned for 2 more years at the Coyne Hospital in Boston. And then after that, I went to Marblehead to practice medicine. After I was in practice for 5 years, I joined the Navy in 1943, and I stayed in the Navy for 11 years. And I served in the Pacific for several years with the 5th Fleet and the 7th Fleet. And I was out there when the war ended. When I was on the USS Merrimack, I was on an oil tanker. We fueled the other ships at sea out to sea.